picture, I'm going to be editing this abstractual image of a leaf on a tree trunk, and it just has all these different kind of swirls and different patterns and textures in the tree trunk. And I wanted to really just accentuate that with also a focal point of interest with this leaf that's clearly in sharp focus and something that's more closer to reality than the more artful side of the tree trunk here. So we're just going to edit this photo here on Skylum Luminar, and yeah, we'll just get started. Alright, so here's the image. I really like how it turned out. This is just one of those kind of found object type images where you just walk along. I was actually at a sweet air reserve when I took this photo. It's a local little reserve with tons of different prairie meadow habitat, not too far from where I live. And I was just walking along the Sugar Creek there with the many different creek crossings that are along this reserve here. And I noticed this fallen kind of down tree trunk that was just right across the Sugar Creek. And I just really, once you kind of got a good look at it, you really saw all the different patterns and textures, as you can tell in this photo here, of just really how it was spectacular how it looked. So we're just going to get started here. One very apparent thing is that, and this is kind of like personal taste, I guess, because everyone treats these kind of things differently, but I see these three lines right up here as a distraction. They're in the photo like naturally, they're like physically on the tree trunk, but I just really find them to be a little too distracting. So I'm just going to do a quick cloning and stamp job here. See if I can clone these out real quick. I find them to be really just quite a distraction. At the very least, cloning is one of those tools that's can be really kind of labor intensive. You could spend a lot of time. You could heavily clone out things, but the problem is just making it look real, kind of believable. See what I mean? Because then it clones wherever your starting point is. It clones that. So I like to make it look a little more believable. So I think that's good enough. And I'm just gonna take a quick eye over the rest of the image. I could get really picky and just like clone out stuff like that even, because you can pretty much do anything. And yeah, this tree trunk had a lot of different nubs, like this one at the top right hand corner, but I'll keep that one in just because it kind of adds another thing to it. But I just love, especially down here, this little just weird shape. You can just really see all the different textures in the tree trunk here. It's kind of just, it looks simply unreal, and that's one of my favorite things about nature photography, is just that you can find weird shapes and textures and just weird things out in nature like this, and it's just crazy to think because it's all, in essence, it's all real, but at the same time it just has a very surreal look. I guess I should have mentioned this before, but the histograms up here looks pretty evenly exposed. It's a little the height really doesn't necessarily matter in this case, but the way it's spread out, you want it to be a nice kind of even over from left to right. Typically you want to expose from the right because that'll get you all the highlights without blowing those out. And here is the before the cloning job I did just a second ago. So I think it's an improvement. Just kind of cleaned up a little bit of the image there. So obviously my focal point was on this leaf. So I might try, kind of keeping in line with the cloning job here, I might try something else here. I'm going to try a very, very slight dodging and burning. I'm just going to kind of illuminate the leaf a little bit. See how that looks? Not too bad. Now, I'm kind of going back and forth in my head, just thinking about what I want to do here. I could darken or burn the background here, but I think just the way the texture works, I don't know if I really want to do that, because I like the image as a whole, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have the leaf be the only thing that's there, but I just don't know if I want to. I'm just gonna kind of randomly place it here, just different spots, kind of make us one little thin layer. And that's honestly where the direction may be going to take this photo. I may just be putting all the emphasis on that leaf and leaving the background just kind of be on its own and kind of darkening that. See, I also could apply a vignette, but it's an image where I could use it. Here's how it looks real harsh, but I don't think I'm really going to necessarily do that with this one. Because like I just said, I want to kind of show the whole image, and that's kind of why I shot it at f11 for my aperture. It's just because I wanted everything in focus. The tree trunk, even though I used autofocus and I put a focus point on that leaf, I still wanted everything in focus. So I shot at f11, which was a nice kind of middle aperture that I feel like worked out really well for this case. Other than that, I'm just going to bump up the clarity a little bit, set at the 5 there. Adjust the exposure just ever so slightly up front, and then put a little more contrast on there. This kind of creates a more dramatic look to it. The leaf looks a lot more brighter and illuminated, as you can tell since I dodged it or lightened it up. Now, Skylum software, Luminar in particular, they have accent AI filter, which just kind of works essentially as like a exposure, like a brightness, but it also just it's kind of like combined exposure and contrast, and so it just kind of brings it all together in this one AI filter, or artificial intelligence. So Skylum's really been pushing, especially lately, AI in the future of just kind of photo editing, where you can kind of replace skies completely with different kinds. Like you do golden hour, you can do morning, do puffy blue cumulus clouds in between. So they're really pushing for this kind of almost proprietary AI tools that you use in a photo editing software like this. There's another one called advanced contrast. That's one I very seldomly use, but I also shot this image at 95 millimeters, which is like just right, perfect focal length, just kind of small telephoto range there, and it helped me really isolate the details of this, because initially, before I really started working the scene, I was thinking about using a wide angle perspective, but I just found that to be too wide simply. But the 95, kind of in that 100 millimeter range, worked out just well to really isolate this tree trunk and the leaf, obviously, and it made it much more compressed the distance, made everything just kind of look more abstract, which is definitely what I was going for in this case. I really like how the image turned out overall. And in the moment, I was really excited just about sharing it and just editing it like I am now. Other than that, there's not too much else. I'm going to do a little bit of sharpening here with this details enhancer. I'm going to just use the small. There's small, medium, large. I use small. I think I might do a little bit more contrast, because I just really like how it pumps out all the different colors. That might be it. As I always say, the more time you edit a photo, the more over-processed it's going to get, and that's definitely not what I'm going for here, even though this is a more art-centered photo, where I'm not really going for 100% accuracy like I would with like a bird, in terms of just like capturing the right colors and all that. But yeah, it is a great day out there at Sweet Arrow when I took this. Just a great different, kind of getting started on a kick of doing different fall foliage. Just trying out different, like this case, fallen leaf, just seeing all the different textures and colors as the seasons slowly transition. It was a very beautiful morning for that, or afternoon actually. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to overdo it, so I'm just going to keep it at that. So I go to export. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. This has been this tree trunk leaf. I've been editing it in Skylum Luminar software here. So I'm a big fan of them, and I recently became an affiliate. So I'm basically kind of partnered with them, and I have this little referral link. It's like an affiliate link, and I'll post it down in the description here. And if you buy a piece of the software, a copy of it, I get a little bit back, a little bit of like a share of that, the price, and that helps support me, helps support buying new gear and equipment to make more videos, make more higher quality production videos like this and out in the field. So if you want to support me and you need some photo editing software, like I said, highly recommend Skylum software here. They make some great stuff. I really like what they're doing. Usually they, their whole thing is just with like, as opposed to like an Adobe software, is that it's one, there's no subscription, and it's just all one and done. So I really like what they're doing. I edit pretty much all my photos with their software and Aurora for my different HDR bracketed shots. So I really like what they do. So I'm going to put that link down in the description, and you can check it out. If you need software, like I said, please help me out if you're so inclined to. I really appreciate it. So other than that, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, guys.